the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it.
The time has come. Execute Order 66.
All right, we are back. Let's analyze some of this DC crash footage. We got Captain Steve here. New channel I stumbled upon. Definitely trending for the most views on the topic right now. So let's get right to it.
Here's what happened last night. I'm able to secure the actual audio from the incident over the Potomac last night. Let's listen in together.
79 contact don't work today. Okay. American 3130 for the final.
You're going to see a back and forth now between Reagan Tower and the various aircraft that they have lined up on approach into the airport. This happened at about 8:46 p.m. Last evening, and you can see there's several airplanes lined up. That's typical coming in about that time of night at Reagan. They're talking to American Airlines 3130, which I think is number 2 for the runway. They're telling them to slow down to their final approach speed because they're separating everybody on the way in. It's going to turn out that American 3130 is a key player in what happens here.
Well, American 3130. Pat 25, traffic just off the Wilson Bridge is CRJ.
Pat 25 is the helicopter that ran into the CRJ 700. It was a PSA flight. The flight number is 5342. It would go under the call sign Blue Streak 5342. You don't ever hear them talking to tower. They've already been cleared to land on runway 33. So they would come in on an approach on runway 1, and then they would kind of circle the land on runway 33. It's a little shorter runway, but they take some of the regional jets and they put them on that runway. Pat 25 is the Black Hawk helicopter that is just south of the Woodrow Bridge, and they've just taken off. They're airborne. The tower is saying to them, there's traffic. It's a CRJ. It's at 1,200 feet, lined up for runway 33. Do you have that traffic? Pat 25 is going to call back and say yes.
It's 1,200 feet, start runway 33.
Pat 25 says, has the traffic in sight, request visual separation. What that means is that they're going to take responsibility for visual separation from that aircraft. What happened? Here's what I think happened. This is not the final word on it, but what I think happened was it was at night. There's several airplanes lined up. There is that Blue Streak 5342, which is a CRJ that they ran into. Right behind them, just a few miles, is American 3130. Everybody has their lights on as they're coming in. I believe the helicopter looked at the American 3130 and said, I've got the traffic in sight, and they never saw the airplane, the CRJ that was right next to them. That's my conjecture on what happens.
Special separation. This separation proof. American 1630 tower, runway 1 lock void, traffic throughout runway 33, dispatch 16 off final.
So this is typical stuff that's going on in a busy airport. They're lining somebody up to take off. They're saying, pay attention. I'm going to give you an immediate takeoff here. I've got traffic lining up for runway 33. That's the CRJ that got ran into. And he's on a 6-mile final. It might be somebody even behind him, but they're lining everybody up to take off into land.
Whiskey 5307. Keep rolling out to November 47 today.
You can see at the bottom of your screen there, the CRJ, the Blue Streak 5342. They're beginning to now kind of come out a little bit to line up the runway to land on runway 33. They're not going to go right straight down the river. They got to come out a little bit wider and come in. But remember, Pat 25, which is up here, the helicopter at the middle of your screen, they've already said we accept responsibility for visual separation.
American 1630 1 star 32014, Galaxy 5, traffic 2 mile elevation, runway 33, no delay, runway 1 clear for B to
Clears
take off.
American to
Number
take
1,
off.
clear to take off, American 1630.
Here it comes.
CRJ in sight.
Now the tower is seeing what's happening, and they're saying, "Do you have the CRJ in sight? Because you guys are getting kind of close." And the Pat 25, the helicopter, says once again, "Yeah, and I'm asking for visual separation." Okay, the responsibility is on you then.
Pat 25, pass line is CRJ.
Pat 25 has a aircraft in sight, request visual separation.
Okay, so Pat 25 says, "Has the aircraft in sight, request visual separation." I don't think they had these guys in sight. I think they had the airplane behind them in sight. That's why this is such a tragedy.
American 4782 by Pat, now for visual.
American 472, Oscar 1 star 32017.
So you hear somebody in the tower go, "Oh," and they see what just happened. As you can see in your screen here, the collision took place. The tower has seen it happen in real time. They're human beings. They're reacting just like you and I would. You guys are getting kind of close. Now the tower is.
All right, I'm gonna stop it here because with this radar footage of what he has, it's showing that the helicopter is coming towards the airplane as the airplane, I believe, supposed to be landing, right? I thought it was supposed to be landing. I have to check again. I thought it was supposed to be landing. And the helicopter but when you see the actual footage of, you see the little specks going across the screen. When you let's see if I can find it. Right here, though.
So you hear somebody in the tower go, "Oh," and they. That's why this is such a tragedy.
And see right here, it looked like the helicopter is coming from behind the plane as it's getting prepared to descend and land. So some ain't right. It's making me think, damn, is that fake radar footage or something? Like, because on the radar, it shows the helicopter coming in the completely opposite direction. But in real time, when you watch it of someone recording it or some CTV footage, it looks like the helicopter is coming from behind. I hope this ain't no conspiracy theorist, but see, check again.
Says once again, "Yeah, and I'm asking for visual separation." Okay, the responsibility is on you then.
Pat 25, pass line is CRJ.
Pat 25 has a aircraft in sight, request visual separation.
Okay, so Pat 25 says, "Has the aircraft in sight, request visual separation." I don't think they had these guys in sight. I think they had the airplane behind them in sight. That's why this is such a tragedy.
American 4782 by Pat, now for visual.
American 472, Oscar 1 star 32017.
So you hear somebody in the tower go, "Oh," and they see what just happened. As you can see in your screen here, the collision took place. The tower has seen it happen in real time. They're human beings. They're reacting just like you and I would. The helicopter ran into the CRJ. The CRJ's airspace was their airspace. In front of them, behind them, on both sides of them, it was a responsibility of the helicopter to maintain visual separation. They even told him a couple times, "Do you got him in sight? Do you got him in sight?" He said, "Yep, got him in sight. I'm accepting responsibility for the separation." And I think just like when you're driving in a car and you look and you see a car behind the one that almost hit you, you see that car and you didn't see the one right here. And when you turn out in front, sometimes there's a collision. It's really tragic when this happens in an airplane. Again, it's been decades since there's been a midair collision in this country. This is such an unusual circumstance to take place. It's such a tragedy. It's been 12 years since there's been a fatality in a commercial airliner here in the United States. That's unprecedented. And that wasn't a midair collision. That was just an accident. This is a midair collision, and this hasn't happened in forever. So now we know what's going on here. Pat 25, the helicopter, accepted responsibility for visual separation. They probably had their eyes on the airplane behind them, and then they tragically ran into these guys.
Did you see that? 472. American 3130, go around, turn left in 250.
See, that's what I'm saying, RC. Like right here, it looked like the helicopter. The helicopter is on the left. That little tiny little dot, that little speck right there. This little tiny little speck. It's supposed to be the helicopter, and this is supposed to be the plane, the bigger light. So it looked like the helicopter's coming in from the left way faster and just hits it. But on this radar graph thing, they showing the helicopter coming from a completely opposite direction. Like it's like it came on a head-on collision. But on the footage, look from some CT footage that they showed, it looks like it rear-ended the plane or hit it from the side more than head-on. So some ain't right.
3000.
So now what happens from the tower's perspective is they have to work through denial pretty fast. They just saw this happen in real time in front of them. They're human beings like the rest of us. They're kind of in shock, but they've still got airplanes coming in. They've got American Airlines 1630, which just took off. They've got to hand them off to departure. They got American 3130 that's coming in. They got American 472 behind them. They got to do something with these airplanes. Right? The airplane port is going to be shut here in a second. So they're going to start telling all these guys to go around while they're trying to handle the emergency and get the emergency equipment out. And all of that is, everybody's kind of in a little fog for a few seconds here while all of this is taking place. The tragedy of it hits you hard. And they're very professional. Watch how they handle this. But man, they're busy.
Okay, left heading 350, 3000, American 3130.
Tower boost streak 5347 is on final. Request runway 33, circle to 33.
Second heading for American 3130.
American 3130, go around, turn left in 270, fly maintain 3000.
270 on the heading, 3000.
See how fast he's talking? He's trying to get all these other airplanes out of here.
Crash. This is alert 3. Crash.
Okay, what's MWAA? It's the Metro Washington Airport Authority. Every airport has some sort of governing authority over it. Many times it's called the Port Authority. Up in Boston, it's Mass Port, right? In New York, it's the Port Authority. Down here in Washington, it's the Metro Washington Airport Authority. They're now announcing officially there's a crash. So they go over the radio and they broadcast to everybody. The tower is the main recipient of this, that there's been a crash. He's going to repeat that. That puts a whole bunch of things into motion all at the same time. The fire crews now are going to jump in their uniforms. They're going to get in their fire trucks. They're going to drive to where the crash is. There's going to be details about this coming, but this whole thing is very frenzied and happens very fast. But these are really highly trained professionals. They do a really terrific job.
Alert 3. Crash. This is alert 3.
And alert 3 is a crash.
Oh, shit. Where's the alert 3? It is off the approaching the runway 33. Approaching the runway 33. Helicopter crash. Copy us this morning. Crash. This is alert 3. 2 helicopters.
Okay, so again, fog of war. The first report that they get is that it's 2 helicopters. They're going to clarify this really quickly because the tower is talking back and forth to them. The tower is going to say, nope, it was a CRJ and a helicopter. So they get this, because it's cleared up pretty fast.
Well, it's helicopter CRJ approaching the runway 33.
That's really fast.
The approaching runway 33, a mile off final. Crash. Kilo CRJ approaching the 33. Okay. How many souls on board? We don't have any information. We don't have any of that information.
Wait, what?
We don't have any. Okay. How many souls on board? Okay. How many souls on?
What in the Lucifer sacrifice is going on here? I mean, is that normal, like plain lingo? Like, I gotta look that up. Hold up. I'm gonna ask Google search Is souls on board normal flight traffic control lyrics? Is flight traffic control lingo traffic lingo or language? Let me see what. Oh shit, see, let's go down the rabbit hole. Okay, let's go down the rabbit hole. All right, I'm sharing the screen. All right, it says, according to the Federal Aviation, this is deep, right? Let's go. It's deep. It's deep. It says, according to the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, and the Air Traffic Control, ATC, handbook, the correct ATC communication is to say people on board. Despite this, ATC controllers sometimes continue to use the term souls when communicating with aircraft. Bro, what? I'm just trying to understand because it's obviously from the old world or like they a lot of old stuff that we don't say no more or say it like that no more. It's just like, why would they say that though? Like on planes, like soul, like why is that a like? Oh my god! All right. So, what do they mean when they say souls? According to the dictionary definition in Christianity and other religions, the soul is the spirit or immaterial part of human beings that people believe continues to exist in some form after the body has died. Thanks for the definition of soul. Can we get to why they say that in referring to people on planes? People on board is better than souls on board. Yeah, it sounds a lot like not like sacrificing them like like or something. Like in a way, using the word souls on board does not make sense. Yeah, as aircraft we sometimes tasked with transporting the bodies of people who have died. What? Huh? I'm trying to figure out if I'm reading this right. Wait, as does not make sense, as aircraft are sometimes tasked with transporting the bodies of people who have died. Huh? What does that have to do with this story? What are you talking about? Like transporting people like at the funeral or like they died in war or something? This may be why people on board is a better term. The phrase also eliminates any confusion when differentiating between passengers and crew members on board, including any other airline employees who may be flying in the jump seat. Their explanation even sounds crazy. The term souls appears frequently in early scriptures. Duh, we know all this. It dates back to the Sumerians who lived in southern Iraq about around 4500 BC. They translated the word to mean breath or life. As civilizations came and went, the religious scholars were always the most educated, which may account for the word being used so frequently in today's English. But why did they still not explain? They gave me a whole biblical sermon. They ain't tell me anything yet. All right. Regarding the number of people on board an aircraft, the term souls was used to count the number of people on board. In other words, the number of passengers and crew. The word can be traced back to the great sailing ships of the 18th century. Back then, many ships were lost at sea, and the missing dead sailors were called lost souls, reflecting how dangerous being at sea was and the fine line between life and death. I mean, yeah, of course. Like that's what we say is spooky to say that because it's such a life and death casual thing that we do now and as a species, flying on planes. It's like so casual, but it's so life or death. And the fact that y'all say souls on board and all this, like, why? It's giving spooky, guys. It's really giving spooky. But they needed a blood sacrifice. It was due. Y'all call energy was due for a blood sacrifice. So a plane had to come down or something. Like, what's going on? All right, we off this. Let's get back to the. It's ridiculous, right? All right, let's get back. This is crazy, right?
On board? We don't have any information. Okay. The approach in runway 33, a mile off final. Correct. Yeah. Kilo CRJ, approach in 33. Okay. How many souls on board? We don't have any information. We don't have any of that information. Towers reporting a CRJ and a helicopter crash in the Potomac River.
So they're passing the information back and forth to the first responders who need it. Everybody's trying to clarify while they're jumping in their trucks and they're heading out there. Now they know exactly where they're going. It's at the approach end of runway 33. It's somewhere in the Potomac. Now they're going to have to coordinate boats and other things. Eventually they're going to get helicopters involved.
Can we go ahead and hold all operations till we have emergency units respond? We're going to go ahead and show the aerodrome closed.
They want to close the airport so they can go.
Yeah, that's affirmative. All operations aerodrome closed.
Everything's closed. Huh?
And everybody just hold your positions, please, on the field right now.
Okay, so this is the ground controller. Now, the ground controller is the one that's going to get all these trucks going where they need to go. But the ground controller needs to stop all the airplanes. So she just makes a blanket broadcast. Everybody stop right where you are. Every once in a while, you kind of half hear that, and then you say, okay, I'm sorry. And there's also people asking to be released from their gate to go. They're not into what's going on yet because they just put their headsets on and they're just getting ready to go. One aircraft's going to ask to do this, and she's just going to say, everybody stop.
That's 43, ready for taxi.
Everyone's going to have to hold for down.
Now,
I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. Fire command. The accident happened in the river. Both the helicopter and the plane crashed in the river. It's east of the approach end of runway 33.
it's amazing to me how much clarity they have about actually what happened and where it happened. Many times in an accident like this, it takes 5 to 10 minutes just to get everything sorted out. They're very good here at getting it all very concise. And so the response time was phenomenal on this.
Maybe too phenomenal.
Is the airfield closed?
Yes, the airfield is closed. The airfield is closed.
Runways as well?
Okay, ARF is the Aircraft Rescue and Firefighters. That's the actual fire chief that's in the fire truck. He's asking, is the airport closed and are all the runways closed as well? That way he can expedite getting out there. He doesn't have to stop and ask, can I cross this runway? Can I go on that taxiway? She's about to tell him the whole place is shut down. You go. You own the airport now.
All runways are closed. Nobody's landing. No one's moving at all.
And we have clearance across all taxiways, correct?
Yes, you have clearance through the whole field, all taxiways and runways.
So basically she's saying to these guys, go. And at that moment, the fire trucks take off. What we know about the accident at this point is that there were no survivors. It's now a recovery operation. That's the sad part about all of this. And that's the part that really hits us hard right here. But I know you wanted to hear what happened and maybe my response to how they handled this emergency and what led to it. It looks pretty clear at this point that the helicopter had accepted visual separation. That's when they make that call, when they're cleared for that. They said, yep, we've got the airplane in sight. And the airplane they had in sight was the wrong airplane. There was another one in between that and the one that they were looking at. And sadly, they ran into that aircraft. So folks, we're hoping that this never happens again. I know that my annual training, I will certainly get some training on avoiding midair collisions. I have over my career, but they will refresh this as more details about this situation comes out. And the really wonderful part about that is they share all of the information they get, the FAA, with every other airline around the planet. So we all can avoid having a tragedy like this happen in the future. We will train to make sure that this never happens again. Well, there you go. Sorry for this, but pray for these people, right? I'm Captain Steve, and I'll see you.
All right, so there you have it. Let's go over to Twitter. See what Twitter's talking about.
Any idea what those restrictions are under basic med, quickly?
Well, some of the restrictions I think would be high blood pressure. Some of them would be.
What?
It's more like how many passengers per airplane, how many pounds in different categories, and what altitude you can fly under. So, and then amount of knots. It's under 250 knots. So it's not having anything to do with blood pressure. So can you tell me what causes an aircraft to spin or to stall?
Again, Senator, I'm not a pilot.
Okay, let's keep going. What are the 3 aircraft certifications the FAA requires as part of the manufacturing process? Quickly, please. 3 aircraft certifications.
Again, what I would say to that is that one of my first priorities would be to fully implement that Certification Act and report.
You know the 3 types, Mr. Washington? The 3 types? Okay. Yeah, that's type certificate, production certificate, and airworthiness certificate. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Let's just keep going, see if we can get lucky here. So can you tell me what the minimum separation distance is for landing and departing airliners during the daytime, Mr. Washington?
I don't want to guess on that, Senator.
Are you familiar with the difference between Part 1?
Wait, because I'm trying to be indifferent here. Like, I'm really trying to be indifferent here. Like, hold up. Like, make sure my mic on too. I'm trying to be indifferent and like, cause you know what I mean, sometimes they can be hitting you with loaded questions or trick questions or questions that you probably like just wasn't ready for. Sometimes you know the stuff or you pass the stuff, but you ain't been studying and kept brushed off on it because you already got the job or you already got the certification. So like, are they loaded questions or? But as he going on, I'm just like, damn, buddy, do you know anything? Like, like I would think. To me, I'm trying to think in my head, would I have like printed out a whole bunch of like really, really relevant things to know facts like for landing, air traffic control and landing, like you said, the landing, how much space and all this stuff, like simple questions. I'd have brushed up on Ivy. I'd have had them printed out or something like. I'd have been ready. Like, don't be trying to come with no. Or at least you should know the average. Like, if it's like 1,300 feet or something, you should know like at least 1,000 feet. You should have the ballpark in your head, like not just like I don't know the answer. Like asking like 3 questions, like geez. Gonna strike out all 3.
Mr. Washington, can you quickly tell me what airspace requires an ADS-B transponder?
Not sure I can answer that question right now.
That's okay. We'll just keep going. So that's a pretty important part. So what are the 6 types of special use airspace that protect this national security that appear on FAA charts?
Sorry, Senator, I cannot answer that question.
Okay. So what are the operational limitations of a pilot flying under basic med?
Senator, I'm not a pilot, so.
But obviously you'd oversee the Federal Aviation Administration. So any idea what those restrictions are under basic med, quickly?
Well, some of the restrictions I think would be high blood pressure. Some of them would be
It's more like how many passengers per airplane, how many pounds in different categories, and what altitude you can fly under. So, and then amount of knots. It's under 250 knots. So it's not having anything to do with blood pressure. So can you tell me what causes an aircraft to spin or to stall?
Again, Senator, I'm not a pilot.
Okay, let's keep going. What are the
Damn.
3 aircraft certifications the FAA requires as part of the manufacturing process? Quickly, please. 3 aircraft certifications.
Again, what I would say to that is that one of my first priorities would be to fully implement that Certification Act and report.
You know the
back to
3
this
types,
committee.
Mr. Washington? The 3
No.
types? Okay. Yeah, that's type certificate, production certificate, and airworthiness certificate.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Let's just keep going, see if we can get lucky here. So can you tell me what the minimum separation distance is for landing and departing airliners during the daytime, Mr. Washington?
I don't want to guess on that, Senator.
Are you familiar with the difference between Part 107 and Part 44809 when it comes to unmanned aerial standards? Unmanned like drones. Are you familiar with the difference?
Yes.
Okay. You know the difference between those 2, Part 44809 and Part 107? Do you know the difference there?
No, I cannot.
That's okay.
Spell that out.
What in the world? What in the world's going on out here? I'm trying to stay off topic because the world's just out of control as usual. I'll check that out later.
That's all I can pray for. I'm just praying to God.
When was the last time you spoke with her?
She texted me that they were landing in 20 minutes.
Can you show us a text message that you got from her?
Landing in 20 minutes. The rest of my text did not get delivered. That's when I realized something might be up. I'm just praying that somebody's pulling her out of the river right now as we speak. That's all I can pray for. I'm just praying to God.
When was the last time you spoke with her?
She texted me that they were landing in 20.
Potomac from the left side of the screen. The American Airlines plane can be seen flying towards the airport before the 2 collide, causing a midair explosion
That's a
and fall into
this
the river.
better view. Hold up.
In the first video, the Black Hawk can be seen flying at speed over the Potomac from the left side of the screen. The American Airlines plane can be seen flying towards the airport before the 2 collide, causing a midair explosion and fall into the river.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yo, come on, man. Come on, dog. I don't got no Boosie memes, but come on, dog. Are you serious? Nah, bro. Nah. See, I try to not go conspiracy theories. And like, we would crucify Trump or anybody else that would just start immediately going and start like, yo, something ain't right here. Something like was you, but you know, my theory, MK Ultra. This just stinks of MK Ultra. Straight winter soldier. Don't care if he live or die, just automatically just kill himself and as many people as possible.
The American Airlines plane can be seen flying towards the airport before the 2 collide, causing a midair explosion and fall into the river. In the first video, the Black Hawk can be seen flying at speed over the Potomac from the left side of the screen. The American Airlines plane can be seen flying towards the airport before the 2 collide, causing a midair explosion and fall into the river. In the second video, you can see the Army helicopter and American Airlines plane travel toward each other.
Oh, they were going the opposite direction. But that one video looked like it looked like the what's the name, like the passenger flight wasn't like hardly moving. It was going the same direction as the helicopter. But I guess it's showing like, hold on, let's watch the other one first.
In the first video, the Black Hawk can be seen flying at speed.
So maybe it's just because maybe the angle we watching it at, but maybe the airliner passenger drone is coming like straight towards us right now, and then the helicopter is coming from the side or something like. But it's still like you straight damn near homed in on that John and just straight hit it. That don't look like no, I don't see nothing, and like, bro, like, you kidding me?
Over the Potomac from the left side of the screen. The American Airlines plane can be seen flying towards the airport before the two collide, causing a midair explosion and fall into the river. In the second video, you can see the Army helicopter and American Airlines plane travel toward each other. After the collision and subsequent explosion, the airliner can be seen spinning into the water, and the Black Hawk is also seen falling into the water. In the first video, the Black Hawk can be seen flying at speed.
Look at this, John. Don't it look like a black hole after the explosion? In the middle of the air, it just looks like a black hole, like
Speed over the Potomac from the left side of the screen. The American Airlines plane can be seen flying towards the airport before the two collide, causing a midair explosion and fall into the river.
that shit looks spooky. Souls on board. That shit looks spooky. And these souls for their sacrifice.
In the first video, the Black Hawk can be seen flying at speed over the Potomac from the left side of the screen. The American Airlines plane can be seen flying towards the airport before the two collide, causing a midair explosion and fall into the river. In the second video, you can see the Army helicopter and American Airlines plane travel toward each other. After the collision and subsequent explosion, the airliner can be seen spinning into the water, and the Black Hawk is also seen falling into the water. In the first video, the Black Hawk can be seen flying at speed over the Potomac from the left side of the screen. The American Airlines plane can be seen flying towards the airport before the two collide, causing a midair explosion and fall into the river. In the second video, you can see the Army helicopter and American Airlines plane travel toward each other. After the collision and subsequent explosion, the airliner can be seen spinning into the water, and the Black Hawk is also seen falling into the water. In the first...
I don't know, man.
Various articles that appeared prior to my entering office, and
this is a jet. This is a helicopter. Watch. Why is this important? A Black Hawk helicopter flew into a commercial jet over the Potomac River in Washington, D.C. Oh, it was just an accident. It was just an accident. I'll die before you convince me of that. Come at me, bro. Why don't you think it's an accident? Let me give you a little backstory on this. I don't know who was on the plane. I don't know who was in the helicopter. Okay, what I do know is that in that area of the Potomac River, it's common for helicopters to fucking fly around. They're supposed to stay at or below 200 feet AGL, which is above ground level. That helicopter collided with that plane at 350 foot above ground level, somewhere it was not supposed to be. The airplane was in a landing pattern coming into the airport with its landing lights on. And you mean to tell me that the super crazy high amount of technology that's in this military helicopter, and with the pilots flying under visual flight rules, that those two pilots, there were 3 people aboard the helicopter, that those 2 pilots didn't see that fucking plane and they didn't try to avoid it? You mean to tell me that those highly trained, highly skilled pilots didn't see that fucking plane. That's not even why I'm questioning all of this. This is where it happened. Who's this guy? That guy right there is this guy. This guy flown by the Air Force. What's the significance of that? This is the plane I'm talking about that landed at Andrews Air Force Base just next to where this shit happened. Why was a Boeing E-4 known as the Night Watch or the Doomsday plane, which is a militarized version of the Boeing 747 that serves as a mobile command post for the U.S. military and is a key component of the National Military Command System, which is designed to survive a nuclear attack? Why was that diverted right after this happened and then landed at Andrews Air Force Base right next to the Potomac River? Why? That's not suspicious. This helicopter had to have seen this plane. I don't know why. I don't know what led to it. Call me a conspiracy theorist all you want. That shit's weird.
I don't know. I don't know. Shit, extra sketchy. What's this about?
Love it. And Kia, what about you? How did you come to work on bail reform issues?
Yes, hi. Thank you for having me here. So, like you said, my name is Kia Duggins, and I am originally from Wichita, Kansas, and I went to Wichita Public Schools from kindergarten through college, and then I eventually went to and graduated from Harvard.
Somebody that passed away on one of the planes. A civil rights attorney, Kia Duggins. All right, let's see what else. You see how it looked like it just changed direction? Look at this, Sean. Oh no, I'm about to say it looked like the damn helicopter adjusted to make sure. YouTube. As I'm on live, YouTube is blocking another live. Like, Jesus. All right, man.
Or why CNN was able to report this plane crash 5 and 6 hours before it happened.
What? I don't know. Maybe you just thinking it was reported. Because it happened like late the night. It say like 9 o'clock the night before. And in the early morning of the next day, I was looking at, because I think I was up to like 2 or 3 that into the next morning, and I started seeing like, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, I ain't gonna go live, but I just started seeing it like, oh shit, like some plane crash or something, and I just started seeing it. So let's see the timestamp of when this is reported by CNN.
Able to report this plane crash 5 and 6 hours before it happened. What? See the timestamp? 10:43 p.m. 5 hours before it happened. 6 hours before it happened.
I think she might be wacko on this one, because he said like 10 something of that night. They said it happened like 8:45, 8:48, 9 o'clock. So if they posted it 10 something. Don't be acting crazy, lady.
What? What? See the timestamp? 10:43 p.m. 5 hours before it happened? 6 hours before it happened? What? So I'm not military, so I don't really know exactly what this means, but I've heard that the call sign on the helicopter was PAT 25, which I guess means priority air transport. So what was in that helicopter and who was on that plane? Those are my first two questions. Along with, I don't know, this suspicious activity. Something's happening. Once again,
Lady,
red
get out
flags
of
up
here. That's wild crazy. Hey, yo, what? Nah, bro. Nah, come on, man. Come on now, dog. You kidding me? Nah, bro. Nah, bro. Come on now, dog. So around here, it made sure it do a little extra detour just to slow down instead of just going straight. Let me just slow down a little bit so I can come in and crash into it. Like, come on now. You kidding me? Come on now. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. It should be forbidden for them to even take this flight path between this I guess this the river, Potomac River. For you to come through here, it should be illegal, restricted. It should be not even allowed in your flight path or plans or drill. Because they said this was a practice drill of the helicopter. They always do practice drills during in the middle of flight paths landing at the airport. Like, come on now. Should have been no way no helicopters ever be coming through this flight path. Bro, this is getting super suspect. The more the more so he was at 350 feet, and they saying that the chopper was at 200 feet, but they were saying he went above the 200 feet. Nah, bro, this suspect. The whole time you're doing 200 feet, but when you get to the flight path of this of the plane, you start going above 200. Here go the Pentagon over here. You went the wrong way, motherfucker. You supposed to take your dumb ass over here and crash over there. Don't be fucking like this. That MK Ultra, yo. This that MK Ultra. and see if I can get in the comments. I'll be struggling to get in the comments. All right. All right, this comment said helicopters from all types of orgs and organizations and agencies fly along the Potomac River every day. It's their normal flight path. Why though? Like, the American Airlines crash had names of Epstein and Maxwell on board. Tragic accident, but coincidentally, huh? No, it didn't. Cut it out. Why they put all these in spam? They trying to hide these comments. Somebody said, "Do we still not know the names of the third person on the Black Hawk helicopter? Why is it a secret?" So would they release the names or something? I'm about to look all this shit up. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know.
The Potomac from the left side of the screen. The American Airlines plane can be seen flying towards the airport before the two collide, causing a midair explosion and fall into the river. In the second video, you can see the Army helicopter and American Airlines plane travel toward each other. After the collision and subsequent explosion, the airliner can be seen spinning into the water, and the Black Hawk is also seen falling into the water. These videos, obtained exclusively by CNN, show previously unseen angles of the collision between an American Airlines flight and a US Army Black Hawk helicopter. In the first video, the Black Hawk can be seen flying at speed over the Potomac from the left side of the screen. The American Airlines plane can be seen flying towards the airport before the two collide, causing a midair explosion and fall into the river. In the second video, you can see the Army helicopter and American Airlines plane travel toward each other. After the collision and subsequent explosion, the airliner can be seen spinning into the water, and the Black Hawk is also seen falling into the water. These videos, obtained exclusively by CNN, show previously unseen angles of the collision between an American Airlines flight and a US Army Black Hawk helicopter. In the first video, the Black Hawk can be seen flying at speed over the Potomac from the left side of the screen. The American Airlines plane can be seen flying towards the airport before the two collide, causing a midair explosion and fall into the river.